Look at us starting live, starting on time for once. Maybe we could do the same thing later on tonight. If you're new here, if you're just joining this, shout out to Replay Gang. If you're going to catch this actually live while I'm running my mouth on this Sunday, then make sure you check out the link in the chat where we're linked to the live show later today. That's going to be the production. That's going to be the whole thing. But while I was going over content, while I was putting things together for just the dailies, right? Because the burn through rate is kind of ridiculous. So, got to edit 2 videos, 2 shorts, and try to get clever with some of these things and push. Lo and behold, right? Disaster struck. Meg and Clay, they're done. And we're left like, oh my God, right? How could this happen? And I want to take a moment to really talk about how much we've let celebrity sort of influence be, guide our lives. How many people's days were legitimately ruined because of this news that Meg posted on her Instagram. And the amount of the in-depth coverage that I saw from a lot of people, a lot of creators, to the point where they started even presupposing things about her mind state and what's going through. And, the prevailing issue, one of the things that everyone was saying, well, if it could happen to Meg, it could happen to every one of us. Right? And for those of you who don't know, like me, I had to do a little bit of research and find out what she was saying. But she posted, and this is from her post, right? Cheating, had me around your whole family, playing house, got cold feet, holding you down through all your horrible mood swings and treatment towards me during your basketball season. Now you don't know if you can be quote unquote monogamous. Bitch, I need a real break after this one. Bye, y'all. So this is what she posted, right? This is not a dig towards Meg. This is not a dig towards anyone that is a fan, anyone that, rocks with her. That's, no heat, no judgment. No one's looking to make any criticism there. No one deserves to be cheated on, right? We all, let's just get that out the way, out front. No one deserves to be cheated on. What we're trying to get at is how much of celebrity life we become absolutely obsessed with, to the point where we have these parasocial relationships where we end up thinking that these people, what's going on, man? Thank you guys for joining the stream. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. That's what we do these things for. Trying to grow the page. So the amount of influence celebrity life, and this is something we end up giving, right? We give it to them. It's not as if they come and they demand it. They do what they do. They demand your payment to see them in action. So that's fine. But when their lives end up supplanting ours because we form this parasocial relation with them, it's a one-sided thing. Meg doesn't know any of us. Meg doesn't know any of us. Meg doesn't care about any of us. Now there's Clay. I wish Clay cared more, because maybe then, he could get some consistency in his game. We love to, I love to watch him when the Splash Brothers were a thing. I love when he was actually doing his thing. I'm from New York. Best city in the world. Argue with your mom about that. You don't have to like it, but all right, best city in the world. Not as of late. Not as of late. Those different issues. But when these relationships become our start influencing parts of our life, a lot of stuff what you heard about what people were saying was something simple. Mrsochimaeze, what's going on? Like the thing I put in the community post when it was saying, hey, I'm going to cheat on my man all weekend because Meg didn't deserve this. And we can naturally assume these are jokes, right? Let's take it as jokes. We're going to take this as jokes. Real estate, and I'm an author. I don't know if you can see the book over my shoulder right there. Yeah, it's kind of blurred out though. But I do a little bit of everything. So, and if you're from New York, you understand that's got to be kind of the game. You got to be multifaceted. You got to have your hand in different pots. Hopefully, eventually, this YouTube thing can end up paying out. But we're probably a good 4 or 5 years from seeing something like that. So we just, in the meantime, we show up and we do the work, rather than wishing it was something that it isn't right now. We just show up and do the work. So when we take over, when we let these people's relationships and their lives take over ours, we end up suffering in tune. Our lives kind of become the back burner. We think it's symbiotic, but it's really parasitical, where you're more upset about what's happening in Meg's life to the point it starts influencing yours. You start looking at this and saying, well, this, if it can happen to Meg, and this is what I saw, this is a prevailing thing I saw. There's the reason I wanted to do a little piece about it before I go back to preparing for the show later today. It's just about how many people were saying, yo, if it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. You did the same thing with Beyonce. If Jay-Z can be Beyonce, then all these. We forget thinking that just because this is what someone, you see their look, you see the way they move, you see them being basically venerated for how pretty, how sexy they are, and you think that's all a man would ever want. Now we're going to take what she's saying as face value. We're going to take that and say this is absolutely true. This was exactly what happened. So Clay, as innocent he may look, right? He's a lethal shooter. And apparently, and when you get around those type of men in that industry, rappers, entertainers, especially when you consider how competitive women often get, if you're with Clay, Meg's with Clay, that raises his stock. We can accept that. How many other women you think now were shooting a shot at him? How many women were saying, no, if that's Meg and I venerate her here, I'm gonna go after this. Apparently, you couldn't you couldn't do anything but shoot. But we understand, right? Shoot or shoot. We're gonna shoot. We're not excusing this behavior, and we're not saying that how could he cheat on Meg. We once we need to back off, and we use this as an example just in real time, what happens often. Once you back off the idea that because someone is so pretty, that why would someone ever not want to be with them full time completely? Why would he not devote himself to Meg? But there's probably a lot more that goes into making relationships actually work. Because you have the celebrity look, the celebrity, you want to think that this is supposed to be how it is. You look at the same thing with Will and Jada, constantly throwing their nonsense in our face to the point where like, yo, we're legitimately just tired of the thing. We're just tired of the thing. But you could look at Will and say, well, why would you want to do X, Y, and Z? Look at what Will has done for you, your career, all this. Look at all the stuff he's tolerated. He's always put up. Look how positive, look how successful. And yet, August Alsina is a thing. So the fact is that these celebrities, and this is why the parasocial relationship doesn't really make sense. It doesn't do you any good. I've never met someone so celebrity obsessed that is actually making moves with their lives, that hasn't monetized the whole thing about celebrity culture and pushing that out. It's a dead end relationship. You don't get anything out from it outside of being probably the first source of information from the regular populace. Most of the time, when we see stuff like this, most of us have to go and retreat and say, yo, I have a life. I don't know about these players, these people, that's happening. You see that all the time on TikTok when someone makes something about a new thing, a new issue, and it's full of tea, it's full of drama. But you read it and say, yo, I'm lost. I've got to go back and reread the first 3 books before I understand what is happening here. But there's so many people that are invested from day one. Now, is it an indication that our lives are not the way we wish them to be? That we're not fulfilled, we're not living our dreams, we're not doing what's important for us? That therefore we supplant that with celebrities. We supplant that with someone else's life. What's important to them becomes important to us. And then their lives supplant what's going on in our lives. Meg broke up with Clay. Now you're sad. Why? Hey? Why? Because you're not living the type of life you should live. They break up and you think, well, he cheated on her. What chance do I have? I don't look anything like her. Well, because we put the looks as if the most important thing, and then therefore full stop. You don't look like Meg, then you're not going to get a faithful man. Or even if you look like Meg, you still can't get a faithful man. Even if you look like Beyonce, you can't get a faithful man. We have no idea of any insight into their actual relationships. We have none. Absolutely none. We do this all the time, even down when it comes to regular friends. You see how many times women will say, yo, but my friend, she's dope. She's awesome. She's beautiful. She's a 10. And The reality is, no, your friend is just human like us. She's got flaws, just like we got flaws. Who your friend is in a relationship is not who your friend is with you. But again, we give people a grace. We give people a pass. We just say, yo, it's got to be great. It's got to be dope. It's got to be amazing. Look at Meg. She's so successful. She's stacked, right? She's stacked. It's got to be dope. You form this relationship with her. She don't know you, right? You're out there, calling her name on stage. You're out there, every little nuance, every little deal, every little dress she wore. And you just like, she doesn't know you. I mean, men, we do the same thing, right? We do the same thing with also our brand of celebrities. You know all the stats. You know everything LeBron is thinking. You know everything, every move he's supposed to make. You don't know you. When you let, right, and we want to keep this genderless. When you let people's lives supplant yours, you're always going to be on the losing end. Always. But whatever reason, if you want to look at it maybe as even a sinister, bigger bad, that they use this to distract you, they use this to keep you docile, I can get behind that. You look at it and you would say, with the inequality happening right now across the world, but we'll keep it United States. You look at the inequality, income inequality, the opportunity inequality, right? Remember when we when this country started and we kind of went to war over a small tax and a lack of representation in government and how we're supposed to be taxed, or what's going on with that tax? You think about what we do now, what we put up with. Well, because we're distracted, right? We're easily distracted, and this becomes the most important thing in the world to us. So we don't see it. We don't pay attention to it. It doesn't matter. I'm more concerned with what's going on with Meg than I'm concerned with what's happening across the country. There was a shooter at what was the political event that happened yesterday? But the Secret Service got involved. They got the guy, but that's probably not going to make the news the same way as Meg and Clay. You're not going to see that many people going up and saying stuff like this. It's just a way we've kind of formed our society now. What's important to us versus what should be important. We don't really have to say. We don't have the ability to direct some of these things. But like most things, it's always going to come down to your choice. It's always going to come down to say what you pay attention to, and then what you consume ends up being the entirety of your world. If it's celebrity gossip, if it's celebrity this or that, then that is going to be your world. What you consume is your universe. And that's why sometimes you got to take those healthy steps off social media. You got to take a little break. And it seems weird to advocate for people to take a step off social media when I'm trying to gain more, traction on social media. But your mental health should be more important than, can I get an extra view? Can I get another subscription here or there, or whatever? You should be able to make these informed decisions. Let's think about it. When's the last time, right, you were just simply driving, you were doing nothing, but you were distracted. You were watching Netflix or something, and your hand instinctively goes to your phone. And whatever your favorite app, your app of choice is, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Your hands, your thumbs already knows the shortcuts. It's there immediately. Boom, 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 boom. I noticed this years ago. I'm at a stoplight, right? No, don't get mad, texting and driving. I know, right? But I'm at a stoplight. Immediately, my hand goes to my phone, looks for notifications. Already, before I understand consciously what I'm doing, Instagram is open. And I set it back down, and I'm thinking, when did I make the conscious decision to do that? Why is that pathway already so well worn that I already go to it? Then when did I agree to this? When did I create this? When did I say, yo, this is cool. This is what I want to do. And then, like terms and conditions, you don't read the fine print. You don't understand that every time you do it, you create that path. And now it's that well-worn path. It's not, you're not going off to the forest to clear your own. No, this is a habit that has been well-formed over how many years? So now it's just an autonomic thing. You just grab it and go. Just grab it and go. We do the same thing with these celebrities, with this information that we consume. We want to know what's happening with this person, this person, this person. And also sometimes we want to be the first to know. We want to have it hot off the presses. So you can look at sometimes who people follow on their social media, and it's full of celebrities. It's full of people that don't know them. Whenever you see like I don't know how many, someone like Beyonce, Jay-Z, you know, how many followers, you know, how many people are they following versus how many millions follow them? A lot of these celebrities, and maybe it helps us to think about it. This is a business decision. Holding your attention becomes a business decision. Having your attention held is a way of life for you. It's the most important thing to you. Right there with your job, with your kids, you talk about this whenever you go out. You hear about this. It colors the way you decide what you're doing with your life. That's the danger in it. That someone else's relationship, someone else's thoughts become your own. It's the same way Hollywood has done a phenomenal job, or did a phenomenal job, of telling you what you should like, what's important, what you should wear, what you should think. You ever think I always thought it was a bit silly when you would have these celebrities come out and do these think pieces telling you about their stance on Palestine, telling their stance on Gaza, telling their stance on anything, telling your stance on social issues, on trans rights, on black rights, on Jewish hate, on Asian hate, on all this stuff. And like, we're not just enjoying you in a movie. Why does the way you act get to give you carte blanche to determine how I should feel about political issues, social issues? I just like the way you deliver lines and the way you emote on screen. Why do you now have carte blanche to tell me how I should be thinking about my life? Simple. I have your attention. That's it. I have your attention. And that becomes enough. I've got your attention, and now you're going to listen to what I have to say. It's the same way people advertise. The same way it happens on YouTube. You grow big enough, and then your actual revenue jumps up because they're seeing, hey, you've got a share of the attention. Advertisers reach out, sponsors reach out, and they say, hey, promote this for us. Why? You got 1 million people watching. You got 1 million people that said, at one point in time, 1 million people made a conscious decision to say, subscribe, follow. You may not interact with that million, but that share is enormous. And of that share, I only need a little bit of this. And I'm telling you how much it's worth to me by how much I present to you in this deal. Attention has always been the currency. Attention has always been a thing that we want to have our hands on. I can get where you're focused. I can tell you where you should focus next. That becomes the game. That becomes the art of it. And we don't understand this. Like the well-worn pathway of picking up the phone and immediately open Instagram. You've already sort of given over authority to this thing. And again, I'm not, there's better people talk about conspiracies and stuff like that. I'm not one of those. I can get down with a lot of it that people say, but is there some huge conglomerate that's taking advantage of your attention? Sure. Everyone does that. It's such a readily, easily accessible, methodology. So yeah, they do that. You just look at you look at your brand choices. You look at what makes sense. You look at what's in your fridge, what's in your cupboard, what's in your bathroom, the type of toothpaste you choose. 9 out of 10 dentists recommended. You don't know 5 dentists in your life. But because this has been the standard, okay, it makes sense. The same way they keep things colorful in terms of cereal for children, because when they're going down the aisle, what happens? They want to go, they gravitate towards the cereal. Doesn't matter that this thing is loaded with sugar or tastes awful. It just is colorful. It's appealing. Got your attention. We do it with music. We guide you this way. You should be listening to this. And in said music, we put our message. Right? We go back to Hollywood like that. And this is why you see so many movies go a certain path. And I've got nothing against people, dating each other, same sex, whatever. But when, as an author and as an avid reader, sometimes you're reading a story and what you want to see is something very simple, as in, what's going on, KB? You want to see things that move the plot forward. What do you end up seeing? Oh, 2 guys kissing. You're like, okay, how does this relate to the story? It doesn't. But I want you to see this as normalized. This is what we're saying. I've got your attention right now, right? I'm some big production company. I'm Hollywood. I've got your attention right now. While I have it, let me introduce something that I think you should think as well. I think you should think this is normal. I think you should think this is the appeal. This is what you should be aspiring towards. So here it is, right in your face. You like it? Don't like it? Cool. I'm gonna do it again. So much so that our beloved franchise, the MCU, was inundated with the message right after we got to what? Infinity War, right after Infinity War, when they slid right in there. Captain Marvel, we were like, yo, this is advertising. Hey, this is gonna be dope. This is gonna be necessary for the next movie. And we watched it. We were like, okay, no, still did $1 billion, right? Because we told you, Marvel, they understood this is where your attention is. Got it locked. Got it locked. I'm gonna put it in between Infinity War and Endgame. I'm gonna get my money. And they did. They absolutely did. To the point they got confused, where they thought, okay, this indicates this character is super duper popular. She's not. The comic sales already indicated that time and time again. The fact that the comic had to be rebooted several times. You just put it in between where our attention was focused, was laser focused. We got Endgame. And of course, we showed up. There's Endgame. We had to know this. Broke our hearts. Phil Tony. But you had our attention. Later on, you try to capitalize on that attention. Excuse me. You try to capitalize on that attention because you think, all right, I've got it. You haven't realized by now you've broken faith. You thought our attention was a guaranteed thing. And then you kept inserting the message. You kept telling us what you wanted us to think. You thought this was a stronger parasocial relationship, but what it was simply, this is entertainment for us. Yes, we're going to vote with our feet. We're going to vote with our money, with our wallets. And eventually you stopped giving us what we wanted. So our attention started to shift. It started to diminish. And that's what Disney, Marvel's dealing with right now. How do I revive your attention? How do I bring that back? Well, the simplest way is to bring back people that you were devoted to before. Cool. I'm gonna bring back Robert Downey Jr. Okay, cool. We're interested again. Chris Evans is back. Oh, okay. We're very interested again. But now, how do you carry that forward? So attention has always been the currency. I can get that if I know how to capture that. Again, the same thing happens on YouTube as from the creator side. There's so much data that is thrown in your face to show, hey, people responded well to this. You should do more of this. Or look at what this creator did. You should do that. Rather than it being a place where you can simply be as creative as you like. A lot of it develops, and it's not a parasocial relationship this time. It's, hey, I want your attention. So I have to look at topics that you're interested in. So that starts to influence what people are actually putting out. You put out a bad video. It's a good video, but bad topic. It's a good video, good topic, but for whatever reason, you guys didn't resonate with it at that time. Then the data comes back and says, not so good. So what do? You switch topics. You switch again. Needle and haystack until maybe the data indicates, hey, this is what you guys are looking for. Let me make this. But now that creativeness has been stifled. Because now I only want to do what you guys want to see. So I can hold your attention rather than understanding some of you are going to rock with some stuff. Some of you not going to rock with others. Some of you got lives and doing other things at other times. Sunday night, according to a lot of data that we've looked at for live streams, seems to be a better night than Wednesday. But that's because of your kind of patterns, how you live your life. Not saying that the information or the stuff isn't interesting enough. There's a niche for everyone, but that's how a lot of this has to go. Your attention is the most important thing. So when you see, curiously, some stations, right? And this is why people have trouble trusting the news right now, trusting big media. That's why they get a lot of the information from TikTok. That's where the information, that's where attention is right now. Social media is holding a lot of people's attention. So people gravitate there. You see the same things, right? ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN, everyone is going. There's an online addition to everything they're doing now because they know the majority of people on there. That's where your attention is. How many of you guys still have cable at home or dish TV and have, 1,000 channels and simply mindlessly scrolling? A lot of us aren't doing any of that. At least those that are young enough and leading the conversation, leading the next generation. Boomers are gonna still have their TVs. They're not streaming like that. They still got their shows they gotta watch. Still got their news that they just leave it on all day. But for the younger generations that you try to hold their attention, you have to go where they are. They're online. So when ABC, and I started noticing this because I like to tangentially look at what a lot of these stations are doing, and the lineup, right? Politically, how a lot of these people lean. Fox has always been right. Fox has always been right. Conservative leaning that way. CNN has always been on the other sides. CNBC, all these NBC, all of them a lot more left leaning. A lot of us, if you have the opportunity to travel and go elsewhere and go out of the country, when you look at a lot of their news, you see, Al Jazeera, you see BBC. A lot of the stuff is like, it'll give you like, here's facts, right? Here's the facts. Oh, that's appreciated. Okay, this is what's happening. Okay, cool. Moving on. Right now, curious here. It's how we are taught or how we're being pushed into a direction, and we can jump the gun here, put the cart before the horse, and try to look and say, why do you want me to be sympathetic towards this? Why are you creating a chance to hear more about this? I'll give you an example. Oprah's network, right? Oprah doing an interview with the Coldplay, right? The woman that was cheating on such and such Coldplay. Why does that need to be an interview? Right? Why do we need to, why do we highlight these things? And typically, why do we highlight it from the women's point of view to say, hey, what's going on here? Someone like Oprah has the ability to get both these sides. Or ABC should have maybe the journalistic integrity to say, if I can't get Sharon Moore's side of this, I can't get him in the seat, I'm going to get his mistress on here. And then I'm going to have her tell her side of the story. I'm going to push that. I'm going to push that. That would be the thing. If I can't get both sides, maybe as you think with a news station with journalistic integrity would say, I can't do this because I can't get his side. I can only have her side, and her side is going to look sympathetic. Well, instead they say, yeah, we can get her. Come on board. Here's the questions. Let's softball this interview. Let's dress it up and make it seem serious. Let's put serious music behind it. Let's create this angle where it's sympathetic, where you are the actual victim, rather than saying, hey, you both are wrong. You knew he was a married man with kids, and he knew he was a married man with kids. And you both said, yeah, let's do this. And let's do it for years. And then now you want us, tell us, yeah, I couldn't even leave. He had ways to keep me. I tried to leave the state. I tried to leave Michigan. And like, nah, need you. You like, I guess. That's good enough for me. I'm staying. But ABC now presents you as a sympathetic victim where, yeah, you know what? You were constantly in fear. And this is not to denigrate real people that have this fear in their life. This is not to say that this can't be the reality for a lot of women where you are afraid of what could potentially happen. That's real. But to highlight this and make it seem as it was just him. He was the baddest of the bad. He was the meanest of the mean. And I could not get away from him no matter what I tried. But you think that's just a one-off, right? It's just a singular story. But then you say the same thing with Taylor Frankie Paul. When her videos were coming out, and I guess her ex leaked them days before the Bachelorette season was supposed to air. Strategic move on his part, right? There's a petty award somewhere for him for moving like that. Hey, you about to live, right? You about to cook. Nah, I can't let you do that, right? I can't let you cook like that. Here it is. Here's a video. But ABC was producer of The Bachelorette. ABC already knew about this historically. ABC was well aware of her history. You guys played upon it. You used it in, as cliffhangers, her being arrested. It wasn't like you didn't know about the DV, ABC. You knew it. You just were like, yo, I'm fine with this as long as everyone's else attention is not squarely on how bad this DV part of it is. As long as men don't have a voice to say, yo, this shit is wrong. Men aren't really going to be ones consumers of the Bachelorette. So if men are quiet, cool. We'll leave out all this other stuff we have, all this other heinous stuff that we see. Her swinging on people, her throwing the chair with the kid right there in the vicinity. We'll ignore all that. We're sitting on it. We have it, but that's not more important than the hundreds of thousands of dollars, the millions that were already sucked into the season. So they're ready to air it. They're ready to air it. And then when the backlash hits, again, they look at where their attention is. Social media, people saying, hey, yo, this is wild. My guy, this is wow. This is not okay. This is unconscionable. This shouldn't be. This is not a good thing. And what happens? They pull it. I say, okay, bet. I'm gonna let that go. But what do you do first? Right? Before you do the same thing when we talk about journalistic integrity, where you're supposed to just say, we can't use this because how can we platform someone, even if you want to call it reactive abuse, even if you want to call it that, this is someone that has done this. We've canceled people for less. We've actively canceled people for less. Okay. So what do? Same thing they do with the mistress with Sharon Moore. You put her on TV. You put her on TV to get her to create this where she's sympathetic. Where it's like, yo, I get it, man. I get it. This shit was wild. How can this be? This is wild. It's not okay. I get it. You try to soften her image when the internet's never going to forget. They see it right there. And they're saying, especially more and more people, and this is men and women saying, yo, be fair. You'd cancel the ish out of a man for that. Be fair. That's not right. It's only when you start threatening the revenue, when you start threatening, say, my attention is going to be removed from this ABC, say, okay, I got it. There's no real integrity here. There's no real, hey, I'm not going to do this because it's wrong, that's right. No, I'm backing off because the money is going to be funny. So I'll just say, okay, I'll scrap this. I'll look like I have some integrity. So the next time I'll hold your attention. But the messaging behind it is still a sympathetic one, even when you have someone that is confirmed to be, an aggressor. That's fine. It's fine. As long as no one else is paying attention, it's fine. We had that other show, Rehab Addict. Plenty of attention. Plenty of people focused on that. Then someone releases the little video where she's hammering, where she's trying to do something. She's on a stool, ladder, and N-word just slides right out of her mouth. Right? I think she was trying to say later on, she was trying to say fart knuckle and she said fart and N-word. Right? Just said it. Again. And then immediately says, edit that out. Right? Edit that out. And this isn't a new segment. This is not a new episode. They aired that season already. It wasn't until it dropped and people said, yo, you can't have my attention anymore. Otherwise, HGTV, you got a problem. Then you pull the show. It's not as if you didn't know this happened already. It's only until it threatens the attention. The attention is the revenue. So when we give it up for free, right? When we give it up for free, like a cheap date to a celebrity, to whatever issue they have going on, to whatever else is happening in their life, we have to realize what we're giving away, what we're throwing it away. If you don't realize how important it is, but everyone else is vying for it, is fighting for it, is paying money to hold it, you have to start thinking where my eyes land, where I swipe, where I buy, where I purchase. That's critical. Even the stuff that I simply consume on my off time, when I'm just chilling, relaxing, all of that is important. All that is critically important. Otherwise, people wouldn't be clamoring and fighting for it so heavily. So now when you give up to you, and you giving away for free, right? We're the worst sex workers alive. We're giving away for free. Instead of just saying, hey, this celebrity seems cool. They deliver their lines well. Or, hey, this person sings. Hey, this person is shaped this way. Therefore, here's my attention for free. We need to start demanding more for this thing. And it's the simplest thing. You just simply hold back. Oh, Meg and Clay broke up. I didn't know they were together. Cool. The dividend from that, it's not as if someone's going to come and start saying, pay you to watch this, pay you to watch XYZ. No, the dividend comes when you get to decide where your attention is focused. Because right now we don't decide. It's propagated, it's pushed, it's out there, and we think this is what it is. Yo, MegTech, what's going on? Glad to see you here. All this attention ends up being the most important thing. Rather than us taking a step back and saying, hey, I'm going to decide what I'm interested in. And that sounds like a weird thing to say shouldn't be an issue, but it is. We do not get a say in what's in front of us. We simply say, consume and like it and thank you, because we're still polite savages. Okay, I'll take that. What we try to create here is an opportunity, is a space where we can have an actual dialogue, an actual back and forth. You know, so shout out to the replay gang who may see this later, where we can actually say, yo, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this. Here's my take on this. That was dope. We become better for the exchanges. When we get a chance to decide what's important to us, not when it's decided for us. So when you form this relationship with Meg, with Beyonce, with Rihanna, you know, with Kim, all they're doing is getting all the straight benefit from it. Then your life takes on a different set of qualities. You start taking on their ideals, what matters to them. You think that is what should matter to you. We say this again and again. You are closer to your grandma. You are closer to your grandmother's options in life, how things tender for her, than you are to Rihanna, a billionaire. But you can't, you want to try to model your life after Rihanna's. No, you're not going to have Rihanna outcomes. Probably going to be close to your grandma, probably even close to your mom. That's the reality. That's what you're looking at. It's not a dig. It's just to have us have some understanding. I know we teach people shoot for the stars, but you're not shooting for the stars. You're shooting for celebrity stars. That life. And the more you actually end up knowing about that, get little peeks behind the curtain. You say, wow, you guys maybe metaphorically, proverbially, maybe literally sell your souls for a lot of its attention. Okay. Right? Okay. That's interesting. Oh, you had to go through the Weinstein trials in order to get this part. Men and women. You had to go through that. Oh, this was the norm. This was expected. Okay. And you did it. Okay. Hey, you did all that, and the reward is besides the millions, right? And understand that's a feast of famine position, because how many actual celebrities you see will talk about, yeah, I don't have all that money. It's feast or famine. You're not in constant rotation, and you're not judicious with your money. What happens? You see people coming out of retirement. So I thought they were done acting. No, they gotta keep working. I know we like to make fun of Nicolas Cage being in almost anything, king of Netflix. You know, we understand it's because he had tax problems. He has to work. He's like you or I. You gotta go to work. You pull up, you hate your job, so what? You gotta work. What are you supposed to do? Right? You got bills to pay. But those people that have that work in Hollywood, you know the deal. You need the attention. You need to keep the attention. As long as you keep the attention, you can get paid. Part of that process is one of where you end up aging out, and then you start kind of complaining about the things that you benefit from when you were younger. Now that you're not, you know, Scarlett Johansson is a famous one for that. You benefited. You were America's sweetheart. You had all the looks, the appeal, and the talent. But then, you know, over time, you got to age out. You got to let it go. And now it's, yeah, I don't think that's fair. I don't think, okay, we get it. We get it. For all that attention you had, this was the price. Like most of us, we know we're operating on a small timeline. We have X amount of time in our golden years, not the back end golden years, the usable golden years, where you can get stuff done, where you can be challenged, where you can go all in on a thing, on a job, and have time when it messes up to pivot and still recover. You only have so much time in your life to do that, especially as men. So we spend too much time living and looking at other people's lives. When what's going to end up happening? We're wasting our precious time. That's my thoughts on it, right? You can have whatever parasocial relationship you want to have, but understand on the back end, when you look up and a lot of swath of your life has been gone, or a lot of decisions that you've made were never really your own decisions. You just thought this is what was supposed to happen. You believed it because it sounded good, rather than actually, is this good or this healthy for me? That should be the takeaway from this. You get to make the decision what's important to you. Otherwise, you're letting plenty of other people decide for you. For those of you that catch this in time, hopefully I see you guys later tonight when we do the live show with, the bells and whistles and all that. Besides that, again, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, like the stream. These things make it all the world. Just that growth. We're here. We're going to be doing the work. We know this is a 4 or 5 year journey. We're nearing the end of year 1. Hopefully we see some exponential growth. But either way, we're showing up. We got to do the work. That's always going to be a name and game over here. All right. As usual, protect the brand. I'll see some of you guys later.